Hello, all my dear students. I'm your educator Amit Ajmani, and welcome to Sri Jendra Rank Zone classes. Now, students, in today's lecture, we will be starting a new chapter, that is periodic classification of elements. Now, we already know that there are 118 elements which are known as at present. Now, all these elements are different, but some of them show similar chemical properties. So how exactly to group them in order to study them? That is what classification refers to. Classification means grouping together of same type of items at one place, and it makes the study easier. So all the 118 elements, they have been divided into a few groups, and they have been done in such a manner that elements in the same group have similar properties. After doing this, it becomes convenient for us to study such a large number of elements. And that is the main reason why this periodic classification of elements is done. Lot many people have tried in order to classify them. We will be studying about their efforts and the way they have classified the elements. The first one to do so was Dobryner. In 1829, this German chemist Dobryner, he put certain elements with similar properties in a group of three elements each, and he named these groups as triads because they contain three elements. That is why they are known as Dobryner's triads. And he gave a law of triads. In this law, what he stated was that when elements are arranged in the order of increasing atomic masses, groups of three elements which are known as triads having similar chemical properties are obtained. And another important aspect is that the atomic mass of the middle element of this particular triad of three elements is equal to the arithmetic mean of the atomic masses of the other two elements. So this is what Dobryner's law of triad was. As per his efforts, he formed a few triads. The first triad that he formed was of the alkali metals group. This contained three elements, lithium, sodium, and potassium, because they all showed similar chemical properties. How? All these elements are metals. All of them react with water to form alkalis and liberate hydrogen gas, and each one of these has a valency of 1, that is, they are monovalent. So that is why he made a triad of these three elements, lithium, sodium, and potassium. Quite important observation was that if we take the arithmetic mean of the first and the third element, the mean of these two was coming equal to the middle element. For example, the first element atomic mass was 7, the third element potassium, the atomic mass was 39. When we took an arithmetic mean, it came out to be 46 divided by 2 and coming out to be 23, which was the atomic mass of the middle element, that is sodium. So this was his first triad. In his second triad, he named them alkaline earth metal group. And this alkaline earth metal group consisted of three elements, calcium, strontium, and barium, due to their similar chemical properties. And what was those similar chemical properties? All these elements are metals. The oxides of all of them are alkaline in nature, and all these elements had a valency of 2, that is, they are divalent. So calcium, strontium and barium, these were taken to be his second triad. Again, if we take the arithmetic mean of calcium and barium, it will come equal to the atomic mass of strontium. The third group he made was of the elements chlorine, bromine and iodine. Once again, they showed same chemical properties. That is why he put them in a one particular triad and he named the triad as halogen group. The similar chemical properties all these elements of the halogen group showed were that all these elements are non-metals, all these elements react with water to form acids, all these elements have a valency of 1, that is, they are all monovalent. So chlorine, bromine and iodine he took in one particular triad called the halogen group, and again the atomic masses of chlorine and iodine, when we calculate the arithmetic mean, it was approximately equal to the atomic mass of the middle element, that is bromine. So this is what actually Dobrina did in 1829. But his law suffered a few limitations. What were the limitations or the drawbacks of Dobrina's classification? The first limitation was that this classification method failed to arrange all the then known elements in the form of triads of elements. Dobriner could make only 4 triads. That is the main reason why his classification was not much successful. After this, another attempt, a bit successful attempt, was made by Newland. In 1864, he gave his law of octaves. What exactly is meant by this? We'll just try to understand. What he did was he arranged the then known elements in the order of their increasing atomic masses, and according to him and his law, when elements are arranged in the order of increasing atomic masses, the properties of the eighth element, starting from any particular given element, the properties of eighth element are a repetition of the properties of the first element. And since this repetition is very much similar as to the repetition of the eighth note in an octave of music, that is why it is known as the law of octaves. And Newland was smart enough that he actually divided the elements into horizontal rows of 7 elements and putting each element having similar properties below each other. So when he arranged the elements like this, he saw that starting from hydrogen, the eighth element comes out to be fluorine. Then starting from fluorine, the eighth element comes out to be chlorine, and so on. So hydrogen, fluorine and chlorine showed the same chemical properties, right? Then, as per the same rule, he saw that lithium being the first element, after this first element lithium, the eighth element sodium, and commencing from sodium being the first element, the eighth element being potassium, they also showed the same chemical properties, right? So this is what Newland said. He tried to arrange the then known elements in the form of a table. But there were certain limitations with Newland's law of octaves also. What were these limitations? Let us try to relate. First serious limitation was that this type of classification that Newland did, it was applicable till calcium only. After calcium, these elements did not show the properties of the elements above them. For example, iron does not at any reason it coincides with the properties of oxygen and sulfur, right? So this was the first limitation, that after calcium, every eighth element did not possess the properties similar to that of the first element. So we can say that the Newland's law of octaves worked well with the lighter elements only. His second important drawback was that Newland assumed that only 56 elements existed in nature, because in his time there were 56 elements, and he assumed that no more elements would be discovered in the future. But later on, so many new elements were discovered, and today we know that there are 118 elements, which is more than double of what exactly he assumed. So that is why when these new elements were discovered, whose properties did not fit into Newland's law of octaves. The third, another problem with Newland law of octaves was, in order to fit the elements into his table, what he did was he just put two elements in one slot. For example, cobalt and nickel. Similarly, cesium and lanthanum. He just put these two elements in one slot, which was wrong. This was his third limitation, that in order to put or to fit the elements into his table, he put two elements in one slot, like cobalt and nickel, and that too in such a column which were having altogether different properties. Just try to relate where he had put cobalt and nickel with fluorine and chlorine and hydrogen above and bromine. So this was also a serious limitation. The fourth limitation was that iron. Iron resembles cobalt and nickel in many of its properties, but it was placed all together at the opposite end, such far away from these elements. So this was also one of the limitations. And after the discovery of noble gases, then his law of octaves was altogether messed up, because the eighth element no longer remains with the similar properties as to that of the first element. So these were lot many limitations or anomalies or drawbacks of Newland's law of octaves. After that, very importantly, Mendeleev, a Russian scientist, he contributed a lot to chemistry. He gave his periodic table. What exactly he did was, he took the formulae of the oxides and hydrides formed by the elements, and he considered these to be the basic properties of elements in order to make their classification in the form of a periodic table. The second thing he took was, he arranged all the elements in the order of their increasing atomic masses. So these were the two considerations that he had taken in his time. Number one, increasing atomic masses. Number two, the basic properties of elements in the form of the oxide and hydrides formed by them. Now, when he arranged the elements as per their increasing atomic masses, same as Newland did, he also observed the same thing, that elements with similar properties occurred at regular intervals. Accordingly, he gave his periodic law, and according to Mendeleev's periodic law, the properties of elements are a periodic function of their atomic masses, which means that if the elements are arranged in the order of increasing atomic masses, then the properties of elements will be repeated after regular intervals or regular periods. and based on the then known elements, he classified them guided by these two factors. Number one, their increasing atomic masses. Number two, grouping together of elements having similar properties. And accordingly, he gave his periodic table. Now, the periodic table which Mendeleev gave, that consisted of 7 periods. He named them 1 to 7. These are the horizontal rows. And he made 8 groups. These were the vertical columns, and he gave them or numbered them with Roman numerals 1 to 8. It was the original periodic table of Mendeleev given by him. After that, when this periodic table was modified, then this table contained 9 groups, 1 to 8 as per what he gave, and another group termed as zero group, which consisted of noble gases. Now what he did was he further divided all these 9 groups except the 8 and the 0. He divided them all into two subgroups called A and B. A was on the left hand side and it consisted of normal elements, while groups B of the right hand side consisted of transition elements, the heavy elements. The elements of his group 1A, he called them alkali metals, and the elements of group 1B, they are called coinage metals, which are mainly copper, silver and gold. These coinage metals you must have also studied in metals and non-metals if you remember. Clear? Now Mendeleev was very intelligent. How? Newland did the same thing of arranging the elements as per their increasing atomic masses, just like what Mendeleev did, but he counter-checked their authenticity by making the formulas of their oxides and hydrides. Another smart move that he did was, in order to make sure that all the elements having similar properties fell in the same vertical column or group, he left some gaps in his periodic table. And he was very far-sighted. He knew that there were certain elements which were not known at that time. He had already predicted the discovery of many new elements. He assumed, he always knew that these elements would be discovered later on. And he even predicted the properties of these then unknown elements. How? By studying the properties of the neighboring elements. And he was again so genius that the gaps in which the periodic table in which these gaps were left, he actually named the elements. And how he named them? He actually named them by using the prefix eka. This term eka is derived from Sanskrit and it means first, right? So he termed the elements, unknown elements, as eka boron, eka aluminium and eka silicon, which means that first comes boron and then this unknown element. Similarly, eka aluminium means first come aluminium, after that this unknown element. Eka silicon, first comes silicon, then this unknown element. And surprisingly, when these unknown elements were discovered later on, much after even his death, then these elements actually had the same properties. And a few of these elements which he predicted, eka boron is now known as scandium. The symbol is Sc. Eka aluminium, which he predicted, is now known as gallium, Ga, and eka silicon, it was termed as germanium, symbol is Ge. So you are asked which were the elements discovered which were predicted by Mendeleev. Second important thing, Eka boron. What exactly is Eka boron? What is Eka aluminium today known as? What is Eka silicon named as? So you need to learn this part, that Eka boron is scandium, Eka aluminium is gallium, and Eka silicon is germanium. Clear? So this was a very smart move from Mendeleev, and this Mendeleev's classification of element had so many merits. Number one, his periodic law predicted the existence of some elements that were not discovered even at that time, like we just saw gallium, scandium, germanium, right? So after that, when they were discovered, they were placed in those gaps which he left for them, and there was not even a slight disturbance of the existing elements in the periodic table. Second merit of Mendeleev's classification was that his periodic table could predict the properties of various elements on the basis of their positions in the periodic table. These elements like gallium, scandium and germanium, which were discovered much later on, he already in advance predicted their properties, and they actually had the same properties. The third merit of Mendeleev's classification was that this table which he proposed could accommodate the noble gases when they were discovered. This was a whole new group of elements called noble gases or inert gases. When they were discovered, it directly got a place in the periodic table in the form of a separate group. No disturbance whatsoever to the original arrangement of his periodic table. So these were various advantages of Mendeleev's classification. But he also suffered from a few anomalies, limitations, drawbacks. The first very important anomaly was he could not relate the position of isotopes. He could not explain it. What are isotopes? We already know that isotopes are the atoms of the same element having similar chemical properties but different atomic masses. Their atomic numbers are same, but their atomic masses are different. So when Mendeleev was arranging the elements as per their increasing atomic masses, then in that case the problem came. The first problem was, for example, chlorine has two isotopes, chlorine 35 and chlorine 37. Now whether to place them at one place, which is not possible. Second thing is, if you have to place them, then in that case they should be placed in different groups of the periodic table. Right? Now, when you are placing these two in the same group, the properties are not matching. He could not explain it. Why? If he is actually placing it at different groups, then also it was problematic to explain as to why he is placing the same element in two different groups. So he could not explain the position of isotopes as to where they should be placed and why. This was his first drawback. His second serious drawback was he could not explain the wrong order of atomic masses of some elements. When Mendeleev proposed his periodic law, he said that he was going to arrange the elements in the order of increasing atomic masses. So as per him, the lower atomic mass element should come first obviously, and the element with higher atomic mass should come later. But the problem arose when certain elements were put in their correct group on the basis of their chemical properties but not on the basis of their increasing atomic masses, because these are two different things. One thing is you need to arrange them as per what you have proposed, increasing atomic masses, And second thing which he wanted to make sure was that similarity in the chemical properties should also be there. So when he went for the similarities in the chemical properties, he found that element with higher atomic masses were coming first and the element with lower atomic mass was coming later. One of the example is element nickel and cobalt. Now cobalt had higher atomic mass. Its atomic mass is 58.9 units. And nickel has a slightly lower atomic mass of 58.7 units. So as per his criteria of arranging the elements as per their increasing atomic masses, nickel should come first, cobalt should come later, but when he gave his periodic table, in that periodic table, cobalt was actually there first and nickel later. Why exactly this abnormal situation arose in which the wrong order of atomic masses was observed? Mendeleev could not answer. He just kept on saying and emphasizing that cobalt should come first because it is showing the same chemical properties as that of the elements above it. If he is going to arrange as per their increasing atomic masses, then nickel will come first, which has different properties as per the elements of the same group, and cobalt again will show different properties with the elements of that group. So it was more of something done just forcibly in order to fit them in the periodic table. So when we are talking about any law, law should not have any kind of exception. Fine. One more limitation Mendeleev's periodic table had was that a correct position could not be assigned to hydrogen in his periodic table. Now what Mendeleev has done was he had placed hydrogen in group 1 in which he has placed alkali metals. Why he did so? Because just like alkali metals, hydrogen also combines with halogens, it also combines with oxygen, and it also combines with sulfur to form the compounds which have similar formulae. So as per him, hydrogen resembles the alkali metals in few properties. And hydrogen also resembles halogens like fluorine and chlorine and bromine. Why? Because it also exists in the form of diatomic molecules, that is H2, just like F2 and Cl2 and Br2. And it also combines with certain metals just like halogens to form ionic compounds called hydrides. Another property of hydrogen similar was that it reacts with non-metals to form covalent compounds. So, studying about all these properties of hydrogen, he placed hydrogen element in alkali metal group as well as in halogen group. Now, how is it possible that you are placing one element in two different groups? And this is what his problem was, this is what his limitation was, and he could not explain the reason for it. Because hydrogen showed such varied properties both like alkali metals as well as halogens, he could not assign a correct position to hydrogen in his periodic table. So these are the three major limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table. Number one, he could not explain the position of isotopes. Number two, he could not explain the wrong order of the atomic masses of nickel and cobalt. And number three, he could not assign a perfect position to hydrogen in his periodic table. But still, Mendeleev's efforts, they were really very helpful in the further classification. What he did was a milestone achieved by him, and it set the background and the base for the other scientists to formulate various methods in order to study and to classify the elements. Now, the present system that we follow today, this system is based on the atomic number. This atomic number, till now, all the people, whether it was Dobriner or Newland or Mendeleev, they were arranging the elements as per their increasing atomic masses. But in 1913, Moseley showed that atomic number of an element is a more fundamental property as compared to the atomic masses. So that is why atomic number is a much better basis for the classification of elements. The atomic number, its importance in the classification is that atomic number being equal to the number of electrons in an atom, it helps in arranging the elements according to their electronic configurations. Now, what exactly Moseley was forced to give this concept of atomic number? Because Moseley discovered that the square root of the frequency of the more prominent X-rays emitted by a metal was proportional to the atomic number and not the atomic mass of the atom of the metal. Therefore, he concluded that atomic number be considered as a more fundamental property, and thus atomic number became the basis of classification. And why it is a more fundamental property? Because of many reasons. The first reason is atomic number increases regularly by 1 from element to element, right? Which is not the case with atomic masses. Atomic masses, they do not regularly vary from one element to the next. Secondly, the atomic number of every element is fixed. No two elements can have the same atomic number. This is one of the main reasons why atomic number is considered to be more fundamental property. Another reason is atomic number cannot be in fractions. We know that atomic number is the number of protons. Protons cannot be taken as half or 1/4 or 1/3. So that is why the atomic number cannot be in fractions, whereas the atomic masses are. Chlorine 35.5, right? So atomic numbers can't be 2.5 or 4.5. That is also one of the reasons. Now, once the classification was done, taking atomic number as the fundamental property, all the limitations of Mendeleev's periodic table, they were automatically removed. How? Let us see. What was the first limitation? The first limitation of Mendeleev was that he could not explain the position of isotopes. He faced the problem because isotopes, for example, taking the chlorine, it has two isotopes having different atomic masses of 35 and 37 respectively. But the plus point is that they both have the same number of protons because their atomic number is same. So whether it is chlorine 35 or chlorine 37, the atomic number is same, that is 17, right? Whether it is chlorine 35 or chlorine 37, the atomic number being same, chlorine will be placed at the position as per its atomic number. right? So thus they can be put at one place in the same group of the periodic table, right? And if we are taking the example of chlorine having the atomic number 17, so both these C30 chlorine 35 and chlorine 37, they can be put at one place in the same group. This was the first removal of the anomaly of Mendeleev's periodic table based on the fundamental property of atomic number. The second limitation of Mendeleev was he could not explain the position of cobalt and nickel as per their wrong order of atomic masses. As per him, cobalt came first and nickel came later, and the problem was cobalt had atomic mass of 58.9 and nickel had atomic mass of 58.7. So because of these atomic masses, the problem was coming. But when the atomic number was considered as the fundamental property, when the classification was done taking the atomic number, then it was found that it was right in their position. Why? Because the atomic number of cobalt is 27 and the atomic number of nickel is 28. So if, as per the modern periodic law, we are arranging the elements as per their increasing atomic numbers, accordingly, cobalt with lower atomic number 27 should come first and nickel with higher atomic number 28 should come later only. So atomic masses were in the wrong order, but now it is not making any difference because we are going as per atomic number, and going by atomic number, it actually solved the mystery why cobalt should come first or why cobalt was coming first. Clear? So this is the removal of the second limitation of Mendeleev by the atomic number criteria. The third problem was the position of hydrogen, which could not be given by Mendeleev. But now hydrogen element has been placed at the top of group 1 above the alkali metals. It is not a part of group 1. It is not included in alkali metals, but above alkali metals, top of group 1. And why so? Because of its electronic configuration. Because the electronic configuration of hydrogen is same as that of alkali metals, right? Even though the properties of hydrogen are quite different from alkali metals. Why? Because it is very small in size. Fine. That is why the properties are altogether different, and that is why it is not included in the alkali metals. So while discussing the alkali metals of group 1, hydrogen is never included. It is placed above the alkali metals, not with the alkali metals. So the three limitations of Mendeleev: position of isotopes explained, wrong order of cobalt and nickel explained, giving a proper place to hydrogen, one single place given. So this is how the modern periodic table was efficient in all respects, right? And based on this, modern periodic law was given, which states that the properties of elements are a periodic function of their atomic numbers. Each and every word in the sentences in the modern periodic law as well as Mendeleev periodic law are same except this one word. The Mendeleev's periodic law also stated that the properties of elements are a periodic function of their atomic masses. And modern periodic law In this, we just wrote number instead of masses. Rest each and every word is same. So this is modern periodic law. Now let us see how these atomic numbers, how the arrangement in the modern periodic table is so successful. Let us see the explanation of modern periodic law. Importantly, all the chemical properties of the elements, they depend on the number of their valence electrons. What are valence electrons? The outermost electrons, the electrons present in the outermost shell of the atoms. So all the chemical properties are based on their valence electrons, right? These electrons participate in chemical reactions. In metals and non-metals, we have studied that based on the valence electrons and electronic configuration only, the metals, they lose their electrons in order to achieve the inert gas configuration. Similarly, the non-metals, they gained electrons in order to achieve the inert gas configuration. Inert gases do not react. Why? Because of their completed shells, right? So when the elements are arranged according to their increasing atomic numbers, then the elements having the same number of valence electrons, they will occur at regular periods or regular intervals of 2, 8, 8, 18 and 32. These numbers 2, 8, 8, 18, 32, these are called magic numbers. And it is because of these magic numbers only that there is a periodicity in the properties of elements. There is a repetition or similarity of the properties of elements, because every time any element has the same valence electron as compared to the other elements, the elements having same valence electrons will show same chemical properties. For example, if one element has two valence electrons and the element Y also has two valence electrons, now this element X is also going to lose two electrons and will become a cation. And this element Y having two valence electrons will also lose it to become the same cation. So both of them will show same properties, both of them will lose two electrons, both of them will form cations. And due to the formation of ions, they will form ionic compounds, forming ionic bonds. Clear? So this is what is the actual cause of the periodicity in properties, that is the magic numbers. Clear? Now, what all we have studied till now, let us try to brush up. First of all, we try to relate what exactly is classification of elements. Then we saw the various attempts made by different people, like first of all Dobriner. Dobriner, he arranged the elements, studied their properties, and he gave triads. That is a group of three elements showing similar chemical properties. The first triad he gave was that of alkali metals, consisted of lithium, sodium and potassium. The second triad he gave was that of alkaline earth metal group, calcium, barium and strontium. The third he gave was that of halogen group, which consisted of chlorine, bromine and iodine. And he also observed that the arithmetic mean of the first and third element was coming equal to that of the atomic mass of the middle element of the triad. And because of this arithmetic mean, all the other people who actually tried to classify, they were convinced that there is something related to the atomic masses, because of which there is a periodicity or there is some similarity in the properties of various elements. So this is what encouraged Newland. What he did was he arranged the then known elements, which were 56 elements you need to remember, in the form of a table, right? And arranging them as per their increasing atomic masses, he observed that every eighth element was showing the same chemical properties. So that is why his classification, his law, was termed as law of octaves, right? But there were various anomalies. We studied the 5 anomalies of Newland. First anomaly was that his classification worked with lighter metals till calcium only, not after that. His second important anomaly was that he considered only 15 elements to be there in the nature. He never thought, it never occurred to him that there must be some other elements which were not known at his time. Third anomaly was that he placed 2 elements in one slot. Fourth anomaly was that he placed cobalt and nickel far away from iron even though they showed similar properties. And the fifth one was that he never took any provision for the noble gases, and once noble gases were discovered and placed in between all his similarity of eighth element, that was all, it all went wrong. So these were the anomalies or demerits of Newland's law of octaves. After that, Mendeleev, he tried to classify, being guided by two main things. Number one, just like Dobriner and Newland, he also arranged the then known elements in their increasing atomic masses. But the good move he made was that rather than only considering atomic masses, he also took the most fundamental properties of the elements, that is, their reactions to form oxides and hydrides. Accordingly, he arranged them. The third smart thing he did was that wherever he felt that the elements above are not exactly as to what his element is in way of their chemical properties, he left a gap there with the prefix eka in Sanskrit, which means first comes. So first comes boron, first comes aluminium, first comes silicon, and he kept on leaving the gaps. That is why he was quite successful. Clear? And these elements you need to learn by heart. The gallium, germanium and scandium, these were the elements which were discovered later, but he had predicted their properties too much in advance. Now the merits of Mendeleev, he predicted the elements, he predicted their properties, he left gaps, he assumed, he took provision of various other elements existing in nature to be discovered later, right? But the main limitations were you have to learn it by heart. Position of isotopes he could not explain, wrong order of nickel and cobalt he could not explain, and he could not assign one particular position to hydrogen. After that, in 1913, Moseley was the one who proposed that atomic number should be considered to be more fundamental property and classification should be done accordingly. And this is what our modern basis of periodic table is. The Mendeleev's periodic law and the modern periodic law stated the same thing, just with an exception of one word at the end. Mendeleev periodic law stated that the properties of an element are the periodic function of their atomic masses, whereas modern periodic law states that the properties of an element are a periodic function of their atomic numbers. And we saw how, considering atomic number to be the more fundamental property, the the limitations of Mendeleev, they were removed. Position of isotopes was clear now because isotopes had different mass but having the same number, so they will be placed in one group. Second thing, wrong order of cobalt and nickel. It was justified once again that cobalt should come first, having less atomic number of 27, and nickel should follow it, having more atomic number, higher atomic number of 28. and position to hydrogen, top of group 1, above the group 1 alkali metals, hydrogen is placed. Clear? And why exactly these properties are getting similar? The explanation is the valence electrons, the electronic configuration. Now, how exactly is the modern periodic table made? How exactly the elements are put in there? This we will be studying in the next class. So we'll be ending up this class here only. Make sure that you study and read and go through all the topics as I always say, so that you are prepared for the next class. Clear? So we'll meet you in the next class with the modern periodic table and the position of elements in that. Okay? And it will be convenient for you people if you have already related Mendeleev, then you will be able to compare Mendeleev and the modern periodic table very well. So make sure you go through the today's topic, learn them side by side. Fine. So finally ending up, time to leave, time to go. We'll meet in the next class with modern periodic table. Till then, study hard, take care of yourself, and have a great day.